This is absolute insanity, but not for the reasons that you probably think. Let me explain a couple of things. 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. That is a huge chunk of the American population, by the way. And the obvious implication here is that this is a scam. But this is not just a scam. This would be not the biggest scam in America, not the biggest scam in the world, but the biggest scam in human history, if true. And some people are already starting to think, oh, wait, that's actually true. But we also have people like Elon Musk constantly talking about this and implying that there's something wrong here. I mean, even here he does it.
Why are the 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database?
First of all, I like how he says definitely dead.
Why were hundreds of millions of dollars of small business administration loans were given out to people aged 11 and under, according to the Social Security? I mean, like, these must be some very enterprising 8-year-olds, you know.
Now, the latter thing probably could be a scam, but the former 20 million number is absolutely not even close to a scam. Now, does Social Security scamming happen in America? Yes. But this 20 million number that Elon Musk is proposing and constantly showing and telling everyone, it's complete bunk. Let me explain to you what this number actually represents and how it would work in reality. So, 20 million dead people. Roughly the average Social Security benefit of a person in America currently is on the higher side roughly $3,000 a month, on the lower side roughly $1,500 a month. And these numbers are perfect because one is just 50% less of other and the other one is 100% more of the other. So they are very, very good. We're going to look at the high end and the low end of this because it doesn't matter which number you choose, it's going to be insane. So, let's start with the 3,000 Social Security number. If 20 million people got paid 3,000 in Social Securities, do you know how much that is? Well, 2 times 3 is 6, add 3 zeros, and that's 60 billion. That's right, Social Security of 60 billion. But wait, the fun doesn't end here, obviously. That's monthly. Oh, yes. So 60 billion times 12. That's 720 billion a year. A little bit more. And we're almost at a trillion loss in scamming in America in a year, okay? That number is absolutely ginormous. But honestly, the more impressive part is the 20 million dead people that are presumed to be, the scam thing, okay? Let me visualize to you how many people need to be actually involved in this to be normal. So, first of all, the Social Security database is a part of the government, aka a lot of people work in there. And the Social Security database, most likely as in any government institution in any country, can be accessed easily by almost anyone working who has access to the Social Security database in the first place. Which means that we already are dealing with literally a situation where most likely tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people have access to this database and all for some reason are not waving any red flags around what's happening here or not mentioning any of this. So these 200 million dead people are visible to probably roughly 100,000 people in the government, and not a single person in the government is even raising any suspicion about this. Now you can assume they're all stupid, but again, this thing is going to get worse multiple times. Okay, let's assume that all of these people that are working in the government have access to this database, because that's how governments work, are in on it. Okay, but now you need to cash in these Social Securities. And there are two ways to do it, because obviously banks are implied, okay? One is through checks, because checks actually still exist, and considering the social securities are meant for literally 18-year-olds, a lot of them probably want to do it through check. And the other one is through the electronic banking system. Let's look at the checks first, okay? Let's look at the checks first. To cash in a social security check, you actually need to prove who the hell you are. Which means that you need to show some kind of documentation about you, and any legal documentation has your date of birth. Yeah. So, if someone wants to go and cash in their 1 out of 200 million illegitimate checks in a bank, they need to show their passport or something, which would tell the person who's going to give out the check or who's going to cash in the check, oh, look at that, Mr. Goldstein, you're 150 years old. So every banker who got approached by someone who's trying to get out an illegal check would have to also be on this scam, because, I mean, the first thing any banker is going to look at is at the photo, year of birth, name, surname, and all of that. That's the most common thing. So every banker needs to be actually on this scam. Otherwise, this doesn't work. Someone's gonna raise the alarm because that's just what banks do. Okay? Let's assume, though, the bankers are stupid. Now, how stupid can the bankers get before this obviously all just comes tumbling down because of how stupid this is? Well, considering you're doing illegal things, chances are you are employing people who want to do illegal things. Career criminals to cash in these checks, by the way. So that would actually imply the fact that Mr. Goldstein, after 5 years, because probably the person who originally is cashing in that check gets arrested, one day goes to the bank and, well, Mr. Goldstein is suddenly black now. Yes, that's how stupid this needs to get to actually work. And that, again, that's not even the worst. Again, we can just make this worse, because the moment you look at what needs to actually be done to make all of this happen, it is insanity. Okay. Second of all is, okay, now we're gonna just give out the money to banks like that. Oh no, actually, let's first look at a little bit more at the checks and whatnot, okay? Because this ties into other things that even if you've done this electronically, you would still need to do. So first of all of these checks also need a place to be. They need to be delivered to an appropriate address of a person living there, which would imply that you would need 20 million fake addresses for the post office to deliver. Which would mean you would actually need to create a whole goddamn web of probably what equates to tens of thousands of people who every month go and pick up these checks. And then maybe cash them in or maybe do something else like that. And that is, again, just another layer of complete fucking stupid insanity already. What already is pretty goddamn stupid. But at this point, you also have to contest with the post office that's actually delivering these checks, because they have to be on in it also, because some postman is at some point gonna be like, wait a minute, some of these addresses match. I mean, 2 seniors who are claiming Social Security in one address, that's nice. But 50 in one? What the fuck? And that's how it would go. So you need the post office now on this scam so they don't spill the beans on anything, and you need to pay them, okay? But now let's look at an electronic transaction. So first of all, you would have to have everyone in the, I don't know which place is actually responsible for the Social Security database, but you would have to have everyone in that infrastructure literally on your side of this scam, because the people who would see where this money is going is literally everyone who works with this money, especially the top, because they would see the budget and they would be like, wait a minute, what is this extra social security that's magically going on? Because they would be looking at it as a cut of age brackets, because that would be one of the things that they must do, by the way, speaking from experience. Okay, they would be looking at, and they would be like, well, if you remove the age brackets of 100-year-olds, then the numbers don't add up. So the people who are in charge of whatever part of the government is responsible for social securities would obviously be in on it. Okay? Every other pencil pusher would also have to be on it. And then the banks. Now the banks need to create 200 million fake accounts of dead people to facilitate this scam. Yes. The banks would need to create 200 million accounts of dead people to facilitate this scam. Because the Social Security most likely is going to go into those accounts. And if it goes into fake accounts of already existing people, that's fucking super sus. Because every month, something that is marked as literally Social Security in the banking system is going 100% into this old timer and then instantaneously out to someone else. And that someone else is probably one person, because otherwise, in the banking system, they would have to have 200 million fake dead people accounts, and those 200 people fake dead accounts would either be funneling all of this money into one account or multiple other smaller accounts, which makes this impossible, which is the reason why the checking system most likely is more probable. It just doesn't make sense at any level. It literally just does not make sense at any level. And now the cherry on top here is obviously the fact you literally now need to have a criminal empire that is roughly 200,000 people big to operate properly, to cash in these checks. You need to pay all of them, and you need to get them working in government and banks, places that are pretty, pretty commonly against hiring felons and people like that. So you need to subvert 200 normal law-abiding citizens to now be criminals. Yeah, that sounds pretty hard if you ask me. And after this, considering it's literally 200,000 people involved in this, it could be more, by the way, pretty easily. You need to make sure, because this is the cherry on top, you need to make sure that none of these 200,000 people talk about this. That all of their lips stay silent. That they don't bring this up, which is impossible. If this Social Security thing was a scam and it was real, because as someone who has worked in the government, let me tell you right now what this most likely was. It was just an antiquated database that no one uses anymore for anything to actually make decisions. Is Social Security scamming a real thing? Yes, it happens. But the idea that Doge found the greatest scam of all time in human history, yeah, good luck with that, buddy, okay? Because there's no way you're getting all of these people to stay silent. That is a huge amount. If this was real, this would be an open secret. If America was as corrupt as some people imply it is. This is insanity. Anyway, I think it's hilarious insanity, but hey, whatever.